Hey, Kliff, we're going to talk to Brian Johnson later. I'm wondering what kind of impact he's had on the offense, and given his background with quarterbacks, I know he's not the quarterback coach here, but how has he influenced Jaden's first year?
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. He's one of the smartest offensive minds I've been around, honestly. The things he picks up in the pass game and the run game, a lot of the red zone concepts we've hit in big moments have been things he's brought in and seen. And his influence, just being able to share kind of some things he used with Jalen there in Philly, some things that worked, some things he wished he would have done differently with Jaden has been huge, because obviously that's instant credibility of the success they had there in Philly. So I can't say enough great things about him. He's been a blessing for us to have him here.
Kliff, all four quarterbacks left really have the ability to hurt a defense with their legs. To what degree is that almost becoming like a prerequisite if you want to be an elite offense in the NFL? And would you ever want to call plays for an offense that doesn't have a guy who can beat you both ways?
I've been fortunate in my career to not have to do that often. You know, starting in Houston with Case Keenum, he could run around enough. Then obviously Johnny Football, and from there, guys that could move around. You don't have to make the perfect play call. I think the guys that are doing it at a high level, you saw Jared Goff being able to get him to premier plays. Ben Johnson does a tremendous job with that. You know, the Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton, they would get him into the ideal play call every time. With these young guys coming in, the expectations is to play well and play right away. And sometimes the ability to escape and make plays with your legs, that's going to translate faster than trying to be perfect on every play call and asking them to do that much in the line of scrimmage. And so I think it's definitely moving that way. But those guys that have been in the same system for a while, can process at the line like that, can play that style of football. They're out there, and it's just not something that I've done in my past.
Kliff, the guys over the course of the year have talked about really positively about how you're willing to take input from them, not just during the week, but on the sidelines in the heat of the moment, and get to plays that they're like, we see this. Has that always been your style, or is there parts of this team that the trust has been built that you're willing to get that feedback and implement it right away?
Yeah, it's really been part of my style. I could think it's the dumbest idea in the world, but if they believe in it, they usually make it work, and vice versa. I could have the most brilliant play call I ever thought I had, and they're like, hey, I don't like that. Well, it's out. And that's just – it's made sense to me. It's about the players, not the plays, and those guys usually make it work if they believe in it. This group has a lot of really smart football players. The one guy you got to watch is Zach Ertz, because any play he recommends, the ball's going directly to him. And he's very, very smart, so he knows when the ball should go to him and not. But no, it's from the quarterback on. Those guys, if they have a thought, an idea they believe in and like, we're willing to throw it out there.
I want to ask you about another one of your assistants, Anthony Lynn, both as a head coach and then as an offensive guy. What has he meant to you this year? Yeah,
he's been phenomenal. Great leader. His run game stuff, the style of play that he's always been about, downhill, physical nature, has really helped us in that department. And great leader. Obviously brilliant going to Texas Tech. So we started there on the same page. But no, he's been a real calming presence for us as an offense, and just having gone through the battles he's gone through, been a head coach, been a great OC. Anytime you have that type of knowledge around for all of us has been great.
When did you know Jayden was legit? Was there a practice, a game, a moment away from the field? When did you really know?
I mean, early on, like, he was doing stuff in the rookie minicamp I was like, this is different than what I'm used to seeing ever, I think. I mean, like, some of the checks and the reads and the progressions and the ball wasn't touching the ground early, and just the ability to see it once and go out there and execute at a high level was unique. And then I'd probably say on the road at Cincinnati, when some of the stuff he did there, I was like, okay, this is like a real thing. And then it's just gotten better, and the work ethic, like I said, hasn't done anything but improved, and the competitive stamina outside of when he was banged up and we had a couple rough weeks we were trying to figure things out, has just been, he's gotten better and better each week.
And you mentioned some of the buy-in from players, like the team mantras. Why do you think players have embraced that as much as they have? Like, you even hear some national folks like using it now. What is it about that has really embodied this team? Yeah,
just DQ. From day one, he hasn't treated anybody differently. The expectation level has been what it is. It's going to be championship week every week. So when you get to this week, which he preached, nothing's going to be different. And guys believed in it. They followed him. There's a lot of guys with a chip on their shoulder in that group, players that I think people thought they were being sent off here to die, and they've been able to show that they still got a place in this league.
Would you consider Vic Fangio stylistically the opposite of Aaron Glenn, and what are the opportunities and challenges of facing, Vic's style? Yeah, both great defensive minds. Vic's done it everywhere he's been. Had one of the top defenses of the league. I think the thing that jumps out at me with him the most is just he has to be I've never coached with him, but has to be an incredible teacher, because whoever they plug in there, they play consistently. They don't give up the big play, and everybody knows their spacing on defense is as good as anybody I've ever gone against. They know where to be. They know the drops. They know the depths of the drops. And so he's a challenge, because you're not going to get any free ones. You're not going to get those big 80-yarders that they just busted coverage. You're going to have to earn every deal, and he's going to change up the looks on you.
Hey, Coach. In these 2 playoff games, have you seen this offense grow a little bit more, and if so, how?
I think just the level of focus throughout the week it's really picked up. I think we limped through that last couple of games. Once you know you're in the playoffs, it can be a bit of a challenge, whether you're going to be the 6th seed, whatever. You're like, all right, we're in. And as soon as we got into the playoffs, you felt the energy, the focus pick up, the attention to detail throughout walkthroughs, practice, every rep, guys asking on their own to get another look at it, not being coach-driven. So I think the preparation and the focus going into the playoffs and throughout the playoffs so far has really increased.
Kliff, every defense in the playoffs presents a challenge, but what is the specific challenge of the Eagles front, and in particular Carter, just getting him off his spot where he wants to be?
Yeah, he's one of the most dominant players in the league, if not the most dominant that I've seen. He can wreck a game by himself. They're good enough up front to rush forward and get pressure, as they've shown throughout the year. But that guy's really come on. I have a ton of respect for the way he plays the game, whether they're up, down, whatever. He's playing hard. He's, getting his wins, and he changed that entire defense with his style of play this year.
People in general love to talk about the longer quarterback plays, the more you get a book on them, particularly for a rookie. Does it work the other way around when you look at an Eagles defense that starts 2 corners that are rookies? Do you feel like you have a better book on those guys and kind of what they like to do, how they like to play this game?
That, to me, is the coolest part of the NFL, is the divisional matches when you get to play a team 2 or 3 times. I think for both groups get to see, hey, what could we have done differently in the game and adjusted and attacked, and they're looking the same thing as us. So I think it works both ways, but it's always a cool challenge to be able to get another look, whether you played good or bad, and say, hey, this is what we could have done differently.
You mentioned the Bengals game. Jaden obviously had that throw to Terry. He's had a lot of insane throws. Is there one that stands out to you? You're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, the touchdown against the Saints I was just like, I don't even know what that was, where he kind of rolled around, got knocked down, and Terry came up and made it. That was – the play couldn't have gone any more wrong, and he made it right, and that's why it's about players, not plays.
Coach, you alluded to the value of Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell on this Eagles defense. What specifically have they brought to it throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, both of them very, very consistent for young guys. There was no wavering. They played at a high level all year. DeJean, he's all over the place. They can play him in any role. He can cover. He's great at blitzing. He's great at tackling. And then Mitchell, he's already become one of the top cover guys in the league at such a young age. So to have 2 guys that consistent and never waver, and you don't see their play waver throughout this long season is really a credit to Vic and his staff, and then those guys' competitive stamina.
I'm not sure what your expectations were when you took the job. And Joe just said it's cool when players can be a part of the immediate change. Have you had a chance to take stock in what's taken place here over this season?
I have not. Just been trying to get better every day. That's been the focus. From our quarterback room, we just talked about, hey, no matter what happens, we're going to try to get better every day and make this the best room in the NFL. And so that's been the focus.
Kliff, you mentioned Terry. His uptick in touchdowns this year has gone up dramatically from what he was at his career, 13 this year. So between him and Jayden, what is an example of the chemistry they have where any play can be broken off for that kind of explosive?
Yeah, Terry's one of the best I've ever seen at it, just attacking the ball in the air. And Jayden, as the season went on, I think they built more and more trust as they had time on task. And so really Jayden giving him a chance, and Terry making those plays over and over. But the production that Terry had with some quarterback play that was just up and down, not having a consistent starter, which is tough in this league, is really remarkable when you look at it. And now he has a guy who is playing at a level like Jayden is. I just expect those numbers to get better and better.
Hey, Kliff, the first time we heard from you when you first got here, somebody asked, what quarterback do you want to draft? And I think you said something along the lines of the guy in Kansas City. Well, Jayden is doing things that we haven't seen in the first year since maybe that. So looking back now at this point where Jayden is, I mean, how happy are you with the fact that he's the one that your quarterback is right now?
Oh, no doubt. Very blessed to be here. The set of circumstances that kind of brought me here and ended up here is pretty unique. And so to be able to work with him throughout this year, get to know him and build that relationship has been phenomenal. He's as good a person as I've ever been around, and the type of young man that when you show up to work, you want to be better because of the way he acts and carries himself.
And then obviously having Sam Cosmi being out now, is the hope that Trent Scott fills that in? Are you guys kind of still figuring that out? And what can you say about what Trent did down the stretch in that Lions game? Yeah,
anytime Trent's had his number called, whether it's tackle or inside, he stepped up. He's one of the real leaders in that room, real leader on this team. Tough mentality, works hard, true professional. So it'll be a group effort. We'll see kind of how that plays out, but we have a few guys we feel good about sliding in there.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. I know you guys always talk about scouting tendencies for your opponents, and obviously you have some experience against Vic Fangio this season specifically. One of those games, he blitzed you guys on the left side of the margin. The next game, he blitzed you guys on the right side of the margin for his tendencies. So how do you blend those two extremes with what they've done all season long? Yeah,
really just try to find a happy medium and just have the best answers you can for both. I think really for 6 quarters, the first 6 quarters, they dominated us in really every facet defensively, and then the last half we played better and scored some points, but it's a challenge, and he does a good job of keeping you guessing, and whatever you think he's going to do, he'll have a different answer for you.
Kliff, you mentioned Trent Scott. Jeremy McNichols got in the end zone. You've had big moments from Jameson, from Olamide. What is kind of that the veteran presence, not only off the field but on the field, been like for you to get? You said, they were brought here to die or whatever, but they haven't. They've flourished. What does that say about them?
It's awesome, and you knew that early on with their attitude. The guys were hungry, and we just preached a fresh start, too. I didn't care what you'd done. I hope they didn't judge me for the prior stops I'd been at or what they'd heard or thought about me, and I gave them a clean slate as well. Hey, we're going to do the best we can do for the Commanders, and if you can contribute to this team at a high level, you're going to play. And those guys have bought in, and when their number's been called, they've shown why they've been in this league so long and that they still have a lot left in the tank. All right, thank y'all. Appreciate it.